we want to help the guy, like someone who didn't even have like close to like the kind of money that I was wanting to invest in real estate, maybe $100. We want to help them actually enter the property ladder, because I think the property ladder is actually getting out of reach.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Builder Series. This is Sam Seeley, and today I've got Darren Carvalho of Metawealth. Metawealth is a Web3 investment platform that offers fractional ownership of real estate assets. Darren, how are you today? Thanks for joining me.
Hey Sam, doing good. Very excited to be here and talk about everything that's going on in our ecosystem.
You're listening to the Circle Builder Series, the podcast that explores how the Circle platform provides today's innovators with a scalable infrastructure to develop an accessible global economy. Why don't we just start off a little bit? Can you describe in your own words Metawealth?
Yeah, sure. Like the way I kind of put it is at Metawealth, what we do is we take institutional grade real estate assets. So we'll take like a apartment building, a strip mall, office space, hotel space, things like that, tokenize it, and then sell it on our mobile and web app. And we do this all in a matter of minutes. So someone can get involved where, they don't have to do the legal paperwork, the finance, the money movement, the signing of the notaries, like all that normal stuff that happened in the old real estate world is basically handled by our platform. And, you get things done super quick.
What you're describing seems almost impossible, so I can't wait to dive into the details. I'm curious to know, how did you really get inspired to build this? Maybe some like real life situations that brought upon the
Yeah.
birth of Metawealth.
The origination from the idea really came through all of the founders kind of experiencing the same thing. Some in different levels. So we do have like a deep founding team that has very like a lot of experience in real estate itself, in tech, and then general finance. But for my own example, I had like, a pretty good job in finance, making quite a good amount of money. I had some dry powder on the side. I would, invest in stocks. But people always told me, like, for generational wealth and for getting diversified assets into your portfolio, you should definitely look into real estate. So I started to do some research. I hired a kind of like a broker on the side, say, hey, can you like put together some sort of deal or like some sort of roadshow where I can go and see a couple assets, like see what's this all about. So he was saying, okay, like, do you want to do commercial? Do you want to do, rental properties? Do you want to do apartments? Do you want to do houses? Do you want to do multifamily? Are you able to renovate? Like all of these different things he was throwing it at me. And I'm just like, I don't know, like I am a tech guy. Like, don't ask me what to do with real estate. I just want to, benefit from yields and make sure that like I can pass this on to my kids or something like that. Then you're talking about like getting the finances in order, connecting with the lawyers. How do you do the notaries? How do you like just, this whole process just got super complex. And at the end of the day, I kind of just said like, forget it. I'm going to get lost in the trap here somewhere. And there's too much risk. Me even saying that, someone that like knows about investing, knows about all these things, I was like, kind of like, damn, like if I'm having these problems, I can imagine that the bulk of the population is having these problems. And we did a little bit of research and we found out that 72% of people actually want to invest in real estate, but don't, because they don't have the time, capital, or resources to do so. That's kind of where, us as founders came together. And then we said, okay, this is the problem. How do we solve it? And that's when the ball started rolling in terms of like, what technology do we need? All of these things kind of started rolling right from that original idea.
I know a lot of people probably have the same sort of question. Tokenized real estate.
Yeah.
Exactly what does that mean? How do you connect the world of digital and real physical real estate onto a
Yeah.
platform? Can you describe that a little bit?
We do our best to kind of abstract that layer for our users. So underneath our tokenized real estate right now is actually a financial security. And that's what we're tokenizing. And that's what people are actually investing in. So from a legal point of view, even when our users kind of, click the buy button on the Metawealth app, and now they're landlords essentially, at the end of the day, we do have an ownership center within the app, which actually shows that, financial security that you signed and shows your ownership into that specific SPV that holds the asset. So that's kind of like, at a high level, how we're doing it right now. We do have a very robust roadmap, especially when you're talking about how do institutions get involved, the different banking licenses that we're going after. The legal structure behind the scenes actually changes quite a bit. So our phase two is we're actually going after a DLT license, which is essentially a banking license. this would enable us to actually offer security tokens against our tokenized real estate. So that's when we're getting a little bit closer. Step three is really when we get into the DeFi world, where something like maybe the land registry is actually tokenized, and no longer is there any paperwork in between, like, the government land book and the actual investor. And that's where things get super interesting, because then you're overlying DeFi products on top of essentially these real estate tokens. We're just like right at the very infancy stage. We haven't even left the womb of what we're kind of doing here, but it's all about foundation, right? And we're building a very, very strong foundation with a lot of traction, and we're just happy to have all our users on the ride with us.
Let's talk a little bit now about a little bit more about the tech. What blockchain is Metawealth built on top of, out of curiosity?
So we started off with Ethereum. We started off for high level a couple of reasons. Security, it was one of the best at the time. We started the project in 2022. So at the time, like, that was kind of the chain that was receiving the most amount of support from a security point of view. And on our side, like, we're kind of a Web 2.5 company, right? We're in between Web 2 and Web 3. We have a lot of people who don't really understand the whole blockchain like space. They don't understand what multi-chain is. They don't understand maybe anything beyond like Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then earlier this year, it became apparent that we needed to find a better solution. So now we're migrating to Solana. With Solana, basically what we get is we get a really vibrant community. We get a ton of support from the Solana Foundation. Our transaction times are, seconds now compared to what Ethereum was. Transaction costs are pennies on the dollar for what we were paying with Ethereum. And overall, like, it's just like that retail vibe that we want to help, like, what our true mission is. We want to help, like, the guy, like someone who didn't even have like close to like the kind of money that I was wanting to invest into real estate, maybe $100. We want to help them actually enter the property ladder, because I think the property ladder is actually getting out of reach. USDC has always been like, the engine that runs us. We did do several like large research papers on what stablecoin we're going to use. And it became very clear, very apparent that, from a user point of view, from a security point of view, from a regulatory point of view, from an understanding point of view, that USDC was the clear choice for us. Our mission falls in lines with Circle's missions in several ways. We're not afraid of regulation, and we're not afraid of compliance and that kind of stuff, right? So we know that Circle is kind of playing in those same realms.
One of the things that, that helps to segue into, if you talk about technology, is, as you mentioned, the significance of USDC. Metawealth, in many ways, is really bridging that gap between the traditional Web 2 world and a lot of the emerging tech that we see in Web 3.
Yeah.
Tell us about that relationship with Circle. I know we have a great engineering team, BD team,
Yeah.
etc., that helped to make this a very easy decision for you and your team.
At least when we were choosing USDC, we had no connections in the space. Well, virtually none. Amr and myself, we went to University of Toronto Computer Science. That's where we met like 12, 13 years ago. But we kind of understood the space for a long time, but we weren't necessarily like building in the space. So, take it forward to 2022, when we were looking into like, what technology we're going to use as our currency. It really came down to the documentation, I think. So the way that Circle presented themselves, the way that Circle is very open and transparent, how Circle actually integrates with regulators, is with the big banks, is like, that's all like, things that, as I was originally a TradFi guy myself. These are things that I want to hear, especially if I'm putting my name on the line, I'm putting the company on the line, I'm putting like our processes on the line, putting our investors on the line. There's so many things that like need to be in place where, the core currency that the system's using, if that's not secure, we don't have a business.
This episode is brought to you by Circle. The Circle platform offers developers tools that equip them with a scalable infrastructure that helps them build with confidence. With a full suite of familiar, flexible, and easy to use APIs and SDKs, as well as regulated stablecoins, USDC and EURC, developers can serve users around the world, maintain security and compliance, build confidently, and innovate at the forefront of finance. The future is frictionless. Learn more and visit developers.circle.com. I know that Metawealth isn't just stopping with USDC. Programmable wallets is something that we've rolled out recently and also expanded to the Solana blockchain infrastructure. Talk to us a little bit on, Metawealth's kind of vision around programmable wallets and integration, and how you see that as really helping you expand your
Yeah.
global reach.
If we're a Web 2.5 company, we have a lot of Web 2 users specifically. These users, They don't understand, like, how do I, set up my keys? How do I set up my wallet? How do I integrate it with Metawealth? And we definitely didn't want a friction point to be connecting a wallet. So on our side, we basically overlay our own UI and UX on top of all of this technical infrastructure, and we make it super easy to, like, send USDC, or deposit USDC, or deposit fiat. And it's all like behind the scenes, abstracted away from the users in terms of the technicalities. And then it also came down to like security and compliance, right? So we know that USDC is now MiCA compliant. When we go after our DLT license, like, this is a very important part for us as well. And we want to be, aligned with a company who's providing some third-party services to us, underlying infrastructure, to have the same values as us.
I wanted to go back a little further. So, describe, if you can, maybe a little bit more of what the user experience is now. So, utilizing USDC, programmable wallets in the background, blockchain technology in the
Yeah.
background. What are the average user able to do now on your platform?
Yeah, so we have a couple different of, like, I guess, front-facing experiences that the users see. The first one we kind of came out with was the mobile app, and then the secondly we came out with the web app. So the mobile app is pretty simple. Basically, you download the app from the App Store, you sign up with your email, your passwords, your onboarding forms, and then we kind of take you through a little bit of a tour of the app. And in the background, at the same time, your wallet is set up, the assets are available to view, and that's kind of where the user kicks off, right? So they can start viewing properties, they can start viewing DD materials, due diligence materials, such as, the Collier's valuation reports, or the investment projections, or market overviews. They can see all of the different asset classes or countries they're able to invest in. Then it would kind of take them to a process where they would have to actually deposit either USDC from another wallet, or they could use one of our on-ramping partners right within the app, so still within this, what we call the portfolio tab, and basically on ramp some money there using either bank wires, credit cards, whatever is, like, allowed by the jurisdiction. And that'll include, obviously, a tiered KYC process as well. So we're definitely, like, on that kind of compliance and regulatory framework where, depending on the ticket size of how an investor wants to participate, they'll have to do a certain level of KYC, because at the end of the day, we're selling a financial instrument, right? So we can't kind of miss a beat on that one.
Darren, can I pause you there? So,
Sure.
you all are actually allowing enabling USDC on ramping directly inside the application.
We're right now in the process of opening up our Circle Mint account, where basically we would be able to mint USDC for our users, especially for our high ticket users. Like, this would save a lot of fees. But right now, we're using an on ramping partner, which essentially, yes, you can, right within the app, use your credit card or bank wire, where you transfer the money to, it's Transact is what we're using primarily right now. Transact converts to USDC, and that USDC comes to your wallet immediately.
Any timeline you're expecting on the Circle Mint integration?
I think it's estimated around 1 to 2 months to actually finish the application. It's not light. It's a lot of regulatory due diligence to be done, and then after that, it'll just be a matter of technical integration, which should be, maybe a month after that or something.
You know what? This has been a great call. I'm curious, as we start to wrap this up, what is the future vision that you see, not only with Meta Wealth, but tokenized investing, investment in real world assets altogether.
Yeah, I mean, it's a booming space, right? I think, like, within Web3 right now, I would say it's one of, like, maybe, I don't know, the top 3 or 5 hottest areas of Web3 is tokenized assets. And then in terms of tokenized real estate, I think, like I said, like, this is just the foundation of what we're building here. This is not even close to the end game product, and it's all about, the more interesting. First of all, TradFi products like collateralization, token-backed loans, token mortgages, token insurance, things that, like, you could probably, you can get a mortgage on a house right now. We need to bring that on chain. And then past that, we want to overlay actual DeFi native products on top of tokenized real estate. So liquidity pools, staking, emissions. Imagine, like, if you could stake your house and get some sort of emission out of that today, like, that would be pretty crazy. And that's what we want to bring to, the real estate that we have on our platform.
I really want to thank you, Darren, for your time. Before we leave, for those that want to get involved, they want to learn more about Metawealth, they want to go ahead and sign up themselves. What's the best way for them to do this?
Yeah, so I think the App Store is a really good place to start. So it's just Metawealth on the App Store. Our website will lead you to the web app as well. So it's metawealth.co. And obviously all the socials, it's just basically Metawealth everywhere.
Awesome. And is this is geo restricted on the App Store? So what geos can users access this?
Yeah, right now we're hyper focused on Europe, so it's UK, Switzerland, and all the EU countries. And then we do have Canadians available to download the app as well.
Darren, it's been a pleasure to speak with you. I can't wait to learn more and just see this company grow. I'm really rooting for you. To
Thank
everyone
you, thank you.
watching, yeah, to everyone watching, once again, this is Sam Seeley. Hope you enjoyed this chat. Definitely check out Metawealth yourself. Let me know what you think. For those out there that are builders, I hope this inspires you to maybe open your eyes to a couple other opportunities out there. To everyone, have a great night. Goodbye. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Circle Builder series. Check out the show notes for links to any resources mentioned in today's show. And if you enjoyed the show, please leave us a 5-star review and hit subscribe so you never miss an episode.